Hello, Seawolves, and welcome back to this week's edition of the Stony Brook Media Group. I'm Mariam Gergis.
And I'm Rafael Lauza. We have a great show for you today.
Mahmoud Khalil, a Columbia University graduate, along with 7 current students, have filed a lawsuit against the university. This is an attempt to block it from releasing their disciplinary records to a House committee investigating their involvement in pro-Palestinian protests. Khalil, a Palestinian activist, was arrested over the weekend and is currently facing deportation. Immigration authorities claim his actions align with Hamas, a designated terrorist group. The lawsuit argues that the university's compliance with the committee's request violates the students' First Amendment rights. Columbia University has already imposed disciplinary actions, including suspensions and expulsions, on students involved in the protests, including firing and expelling Grant Minor, the president of the Student Workers of Columbia United Auto Workers. The legal battle follows the Trump administration's threat to cut $400 million in federal funding to Columbia due to the university's handling of anti-Semitic incidents. Khalil's legal team maintains that he has no connection to terrorism and that his arrest infringes on his free speech rights. The case continues to raise significant concerns regarding free speech and governmental interference in academic affairs.
For the first time in nearly 3 years, a total lunar eclipse bathed the night sky in a deep red glow, mesmerizing spectators across North and South America. Beginning late Thursday night and reaching its peak in the early hours of today, the Earth passed directly between the sun and the moon, casting a reddish hue over the lunar surface, causing an event commonly known as a blood moon. Take a look at this clip of Firefly Aerospace's Blue Ghost lunar lander capturing last night's lunar eclipse from the moon. Although viewed from the moon, it was a solar eclipse. Notice the glowing ring of light emerging in the reflection of the solar panel as Earth began to block the sun. From Earth, the phenomenon was visible across all of the U.S. states, drawing crowds of stargazers eager to witness the rare event. Many took to social media to share breathtaking images, while astronomers emphasized the significance of this eclipse. For those who missed the events, experts suggest marking calendars for the next opportunity in March of next year. Until then, last night's eclipse will be a reminder of how incredible space can be. Did you get the chance to see the moon last night?
You know, I didn't. I didn't get a chance to look out my window, so I guess I'll have to mark it for next March. Now let's get the latest international news from Zoe Buswitz and Anjali Vishwanas.
Thanks, Mariam. In the news from The Hague, the International Criminal Court has recently made major steps in upholding and expanding international law. This week, Philippines' former president Rodrigo Duterte was arrested on charges of crimes against humanity for his deadly campaign against drugs that left around 30,000 dead. Duterte was arrested in Manila by Interpol, who were acting on behalf of the court. His first hearing is expected to be held today. The court also recently brought charges against the Taliban for crimes against humanity in Afghanistan for their gender-based discrimination against Afghan women. This marks the court's first stance on gender-based violence and women's rights since its creation in 1998. Isn't that great news?
This is a pretty big step for the international court and accountability by different countries.
Love that for Women's History Month.
Yeah, it's a great way to start it off. According to Asahi Shimbun, the Japanese Nagoya High Court has ruled that the provisions of the Civil Code and the Family Register Law that do not recognize same-sex marriage are unconstitutional. The court defined marriage as, quote, 2 individuals living together with the aim of forming a lasting psychological connection, and concluded that, quote, same-sex couples are equally capable of this, and then proclaimed that preventing same-sex couples from accessing legal marriage constitutes legal discrimination based on sexual orientation. This declaration comes after a same-sex couple, under the pseudonyms Akikazu Takakami and Toshimasa Ono, filed the lawsuit with the Nagoya District Court in 2019. While whether the Japanese government will allow same-sex marriage to be legalized remains to be seen, this is a monumental step in the right direction. So it sounds like all's fair in love, even if the ICC has decided that not all's fair in war.
That's so true. And we're getting a lot of great news out of Asia today. In another great headline, the Festival of Colors began yesterday in India, marking the end of winter for millions. Holi is one of India's biggest festivals. Celebrations were held across the world in honor of the divine love of the Hindu deities Radha and Krishna, and to symbolize the victory of good over evil. Celebrations are known for their color fights in the streets, with people throwing vibrant pigments at each other. The popular festival has been featured in many Bollywood movies, including a top 10 movie from me, Ye Jawani Hai Diwani.
Happy Holi, Anjali.
Thank you, and happy early St. Patrick's Day to you.
Whether you're going to be celebrating Holi, St. Patrick's Day, or the Ides of March, there's a lot to look forward to this week. And now back to the desk.
Now onto another major discussion regarding the Trump administration, tariffs. Trump has threatened a 200% tariff on European wines, champagne, and spirits if the EU imposes a 50% tax on American whiskey, set to take effect April 1st. The EU's move responds to U.S. steel and aluminum tariffs, but Trump warns of swift retaliation. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen says the EU opposes tariffs but will defend its interests. Negotiations are scheduled for today, but neither side seems to be backing down. This is another addition on top of the growing list of tariffs President Trump is imposing on other countries, a strategy greatly utilized to address perceived trade imbalances and exerting pressure on international partners over policy concerns. With markets reacting negatively and U.S. whiskey makers urging a deal, pressure is mounting for a resolution. We'll keep you updated as this game of tariff tennis continues. Ever since Trump has come into office, we've been seeing just this huge influx of tariffs as of late.
Yeah, we have the April 1st deadline approaching, and I feel like I haven't really given much thought or heard much about trade policy or even tariffs until this administration, and now it just seems like it's every week that we're hearing these updates. Speaking of money, the Trump administration is moving forward with plans to cut the U.S. Department of Education's workforce by nearly 50%, potentially dismantling the agency. Education Secretary Linda McMahon is expected to begin the process soon, but the exact timeline is still unclear. The Department of Education, which was created in 1979, plays a crucial role in managing student loans, grants, and funding for elementary, middle, and high schools. It also runs the FAFSA program, which helps millions of students apply for financial aid for college. In total, the department oversees $1.5 trillion in student loans and supports programs for low-income and disabled students. President Trump has been a vocal critic of the department, describing it as wasteful and pushing for more control to be given to states. His administration aims to reduce the federal government's role in education, suggesting that states should handle many of the services currently managed by the department. However, experts warn that dismantling the agency could disrupt vital services for millions of students and families, potentially raising costs for parents. Lawmakers and educators are also expressing concern, with some arguing that eliminating the department could hurt low-income families who rely on federal support for education. It's unclear what will happen to programs like FAFSA or how federal funding for schools will be managed if the department is dismantled. I'm interested to know how parents are feeling not knowing what their children and their future is going to look like with this.
Yeah, me too. I also wonder what it's like to be, in the perspective of a high school student about to go into college. Things might change with some of these decisions, and we just have to anticipate that.
Yeah.
Now on to more local news. The corruption case levied against New York City Mayor Eric Adams has received a significant legal development. Adams was indicted last year for allegedly accepting gifts totaling more than $100,000 from Turkish citizens in exchange for favors. He denies the charges. The scheduled hearing in the corruption case that was going to take place today was canceled. U.S. District Judge Dale Ho, who is reviewing the Justice Department's request to dismiss the charges, determined that oral arguments were unnecessary. Judge Ho has reviewed filings from all involved parties, including a court-appointed legal expert, all of whom support the dismissal. The key question now is whether the case will be dismissed with or without prejudice, which will determine if the charges could be refiled in the future. This decision could be imminent, potentially closing this chapter in the widely public legal battle against Adams, who is set on running for a second mayoral term. Have you heard who's planning on running against him?
Yeah, I heard Andrew Cuomo is planning on running again. I heard this last week, and I haven't really heard much since then, so I don't know how the public is viewing this.
Yeah, I also feel like Eric Adams is in a pretty tough position to run again as well. Now on to some gloomy news for next week. Here's Stamatia Katsaris with the weather.
Last week, we turned our clocks forward an hour for daylight saving, and this week, as you can see behind me, Lake George is finally defrosting. Thanks for this shot to our friends at EarthCam. Lake George is only about an hour away from where I will be traveling this weekend with the Meteorology Club, since we're going to Albany to start off our spring break. Let's get into the weather. So today will be kind of gloomy with the sun occasionally poking out a few times. Our high for the most of the weekend going to be in the mid to upper 50s. Saturday we're going to experience some fog and rain towards the night as our lows don't get far below 50 degrees. Sunday will be pretty similar conditions, a little bit warmer, but still rainy and foggy. Starting off our week, Monday is St. Patrick's Day, but most of the week will be pretty gloomy. Tuesday is going to be our one gem of spring break. It's going to be sunny, 55 degrees is our high. But the rest of the week is going to be cloudy, the sun occasionally poking out in between some showers. Wednesday will be our warmest day of the week in the mid to lower 60s, but overall it's shaping to be a kind of not so spring-like spring break. But don't let that dampen your plans. Get out, have some fun, maybe on Tuesday, and overall have a great spring break. Back to you.
Thank you, Tia. You know, even though we're starting our spring break with rain, I hope that means that the weather is going to start warming up.
Yeah, regardless of the rain, we'll be enjoying spring break next week. And let's also enjoy this next segment with Imra Ahmed.
After a series of unexpected setbacks, the highly anticipated NASA SpaceX mission is set to return 2 astronauts home once again on track. After experiencing a delay on Wednesday due to a hydraulic issue with the rocket's ground equipment, which prevented the launch from proceeding as scheduled, the mission is now set to launch tonight at 7:03 p.m. Eastern Time. The mission will send 4 new crew members to the International Space Station and clear the way for Stony Williams and Butch Wilmore to return home after months in space. The 2 astronauts have been at the International Space Station since June 2024, following an issue with the spacecraft they were supposed to return on. During their extended stay, they've been assisting with various tasks on the station. Despite the delay, Williams and Wilmore are in good spirits and are ready to head back to Earth. By the end of this week, the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration is facing significant budget cuts, with its staff being potentially reduced by 50%, according to officials briefed by Trump administration representatives. The agency oversees critical programs like the National Suicide and Crisis Lifeline and opioid treatment services, which are essential in tackling addiction and mental health issues. Experts warn the cuts could lead to higher relapse rates and added strain on healthcare systems. Critics argue that reducing resources will undermine efforts to address the nation's worsening addiction and mental health crisis. The Girl Scouts are facing a legal challenge after a new lawsuit claims their cookies might not be as safe as we think. The lawsuit, based on a study on moms across America, alleges the cookies have substances like arsenic, lead, and mercury. However, the study has been criticized for not being peer-reviewed and using water safety limits instead of food standards. The findings went viral, raising concerns about food safety. The Girl Scouts have denied the allegations, emphasizing their commitment to customer safety. This lawsuit is sparking a larger conversation about food safety regulations. Now that's all from STEM. Back to you both.
You know, regardless of what they put in Girl Scout cookies, I don't think anything is going to stop me from getting my hands on them.
Yeah, the Thin Mints and Samoas will always get me. Now let's see what the entertainment segment has for us with some updates on New York's favorite superhero. And if he's not New York's, he's definitely mine.
Who's that girl? It's Lady Gaga. For over a week, the world has cherished Lady Gaga's 7th studio album, titled Mayhem. The album comprises of 14 unique tracks.
Returning her dance pop roots, which fans say are based on previous records such as The Fame Monster and Art Pop, this time with a newer, refined sound.
Gaga stated themes of her album including finding love at the end of the world and dancing through chaos.
During her creative process, Gaga said that she cut back on her fame to channel her artistry and into her music and redefine herself as an artist.
With hit singles such as Disease and Abracadabra, this album should be an exciting listen for little monsters and music lovers alike.
Tom Holland is greeting a strange new cast member on the set of Spider-Man 4. Sadie Sink, star of critically acclaimed Netflix series Stranger Things.
Sink is coming to Marvel off of the finale of the beloved Netflix series, which recently finished production and is set to air later this year. Sink will also be featured in the Searchlight musical Odessa, which recently premiered at South by Southwest.
Holland is currently filming Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey and plans to begin filming Spider-Man 4 immediately after they wrap production on Nolan's film.
It is currently unknown as to which beloved comic book character Sink will portray in the upcoming movie, but audiences are sure to wait with bated breath and lifted spirits. This Thursday, Chappell Roan released her new single, The Giver.
Compared to her previous hits such as Pink Pony Club, Hot to Go, and Good Luck Babe, Roan's latest song pivots to the country music genre.
Roan said her inspiration for The Giver comes from other country artists such as Alan Jackson's Chattahoochee and Big Rich's Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy.
As a Midwest princess, Roan said that her inspiration behind her country single stemmed from her upbringing, as she felt the need to acknowledge the country genre while being authentic to herself.
While this innovative genre switch is not permanent, Roan stated she was open to the possibility of returning to country in the future.
Now, let's go to Christopher Schultz with updates in the world of sports.
Thanks, guys. The Stony Brook men's and women's basketball team team's March Madness hopes unfortunately came to an end as both teams lost in the first round of their respective tournaments. Last Friday afternoon, the men's team lost to the Delaware Fighting Blue Hens in a CAA tournament first-round matchup. It was a hard-fought game that the Seawolves trailed by 16 at halftime and then tied later in the game, but still ultimately lost by a score of 80-76. In a losing effort, guard CJ Luster had a 31-point performance while guard Colin O'Connor scored 18 points. On another note, the Stony Brook women's team had a first-round tilt in the CAA tournament with the Hampton Pirates on Wednesday afternoon. The game went right down to the wire with the Seawolves falling just short 76-75. Stony Brook had 4 players score in double figures in the loss, including guard Brianna Ware leading the way with 18 points along with 3 rebounds, and guard Shamarla King, who put up 17 points and collected 7 rebounds. In other news, New York Yankees ace pitcher Garrett Cole on Tuesday underwent Tommy John surgery to repair a torn ulnar collateral ligament and will miss the entire 2025 season. The operation was performed by Dr. Neil Atrash in Los Angeles. Cole, the 2023 AL Cy Young Award winner, didn't make his season debut in 2024 until June 19th due to right elbow inflammation and started just 17 games during the season, going 8-5 with a 3.41 ERA. The reigning American League champions are also facing other injury issues as reigning AL Rookie of the Year Lewis Heel had an MRI that revealed a high-grade lat strain and will be out for at least 3 months. Designated hitter Giancarlo Stanton has been dealing with injuries that required a 3rd round of PRP injections in both elbows on March 10th and will begin the season on the injured list. In the offseason, the Yankees signed left-hander Max Fried to an 8-year, $218 million contract. With Cole out for the entire season, Fried could possibly be the team's number 1 in the rotation with Carlos Rodon, who is entering his 3rd season with the team as their potential number 2 pitcher. The New York Jets on Monday agreed with quarterback Justin Fields on a 2-year, $40 million contract that includes $30 million guaranteed. Fields was originally selected 11th overall out of Ohio State by the Chicago Bears in the 2021 NFL Draft and spent 3 seasons with the team, throwing 40 touchdown passes and 30 interceptions along with 14 touchdowns on the ground. In March 2024, he was traded by the Bears to the Pittsburgh Steelers in exchange for a conditional 6th-round draft pick in 2025. In the 10 games with the Steelers, Fields threw 5 touchdown passes and 1 interception, along with rushing for 5 touchdowns. Fields will likely become the Jets' starting quarterback for the 2025 season after Aaron Rodgers, who was in that role for the past 2 seasons. Veteran quarterback Tyrod Taylor, who played in just 2 games for New York last season, will be the team's backup to Fields. And now to the other Christopher Yang, with another segment of Chris on the Street.
Hello, Seawolves. Welcome to another edition of Chris on the Street. My name is Christopher Yang, and I will be interviewing students to see what their plans are for spring break. Let's see what they have to say. Are you looking forward to the break?
Yes, very much so. I really want to have some time off and just relax and not have to worry about school as much.
Of course I am. Of course I am.
Yes, I am.
Oh yeah, bro. I finished 2 midterms this morning, so I'm more than ready.
Oh, hell yeah. I can't wait to go back.
Bro, I want to go home. I want to sleep. Do you look at me? I look like I'm dying. I haven't slept in 2 days and I've been laying off from energy drinks and coffee. Do I look sane to you?
Yeah, I am. I'm so tired of classes already.
How far is home from Stony Brook? Is it close? Is it far?
It's close. I'm 30 minutes away.
It's about 2 hours, 2.5 hours by train. By car, it's about 3 hours without traffic.
My home is in Ukraine, so I can't really go there. I'm gonna stay on campus, and this is what I've been doing for past 2.5 years.
So I have to take a very sad lure ride home, which takes 3-4 hours.
It takes about 3.5 hours, depending on traffic. Usually if it's bad, it could be up to 4.5.
From here, it's about 30 minutes.
Oh, it's 3 hours away. Did you have a lot of work coming into break and after break?
Oh, absolutely. I need to go back and work on 3 assignments.
I do. I just finished my last midterm, and then I have labs and other assignments to complete.
Is there midterms after break as well?
Not after break, but I have one tomorrow and a presentation on Friday.
I have 5 midterms due today. I had to get that all done by today. I am dying.
What are you doing over spring break?
Let's see, I'm planning to go to Florida with my brother and my sister-in-law.
Plan for break. I'm going upstate for 3 days. Hopefully gonna go skiing if there's still snow left up there.
A lot of sleep. Go to the gym as much as I can.
Relaxing. Yeah, nothing special, just relaxing, staying home.
Yeah, me and my boys are going paintballing. So there's that. I've always wanted to do a trip with them, so we finally have the time where we'll come back home.
What are your plans for break once you get to it?
I'm gonna join my hibernation for like a week straight.
So I'm gonna stay on campus and I'm gonna do my part-time job, which is residential safety program.
The first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna take like a fat nap, and then afterwards, I'm going out to watch Neja 2, highest grossing animated film. Let's go!
An amazing, beautiful day today. That's it for me. My name is Christopher Yang, and I'm reporting from the SAC.
Raphael, what are your spring break plans?
I plan on tackling this really long list of movies I've been dying to watch. How about you?
I'm planning to catch up on some much needed sleep. And that's all for this week's Stony Brook Media Group. I'm Miriam Gergis.
And I'm Raphael Auza. Thanks for tuning in, and thank you to our producer, Maya Duclay. Have a great week and spring break. See you, Wolves.